Okay, we're back on the internet. Gavin Newsom, do you feel the proposition system that California has is detrimental to running a working government? Great question.
Unequivocally, absolutely, yes. The problem is people don't want to get rid of it. So it's exactly the problem. I mean, we created Prop 13, we have Prop 8, we constitutionally amended the rights of a minority based on the whims at the moment of a majority. But for whatever reason, every time we do polling, asking that same majority whether or not they want to give that right back, they say, no way, Sacramento's broken, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing, enough, we need that power to trump their incompetence.
You know what I think that is behind that, deep behind that, is they don't teach in school anymore history or civics. People have no idea what government really is. Yeah. They have no idea what the founders wanted. Yeah. The last thing the founders wanted was leaving government in the hands of the people. Direct democracy.
Well, they actually didn't even like the word democracy. They kept insisting that they had created a republic.
They did.
And the whole point of a republic was that you had many indirect ways in which the public participated, but not directly.
Yeah, representative.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the public is always going to vote for things they like. Pay for it? No, we don't like that part of it.
Got it.
So we want good stuff and pay not.
Well, we're going to know this November in California with a major tax initiative, and if that does not pass, it's very likely you're going to see dismantling of the public education system that already arguably has been dismantled.
Isn't California the only state in the country that needs a two-thirds majority both to raise taxes?
Just changed that. Prop 25 last year allowed us a simple majority to get a budget passed, but requires still two-thirds to get any revenue enhancements. So as a consequence, we're going back to the ballot, asking the voters whether or not they want it.
But it is of all, I mean, people say this about the presidency and almost all political jobs. Why would anyone want that job? This job of governor of California, that's the one job in this country I do not understand why anyone would want, because it is impossible to succeed.
Yeah, I don't know about, I mean, you know, you look at the balance sheet of the state, who would not want to be representing the 9th largest economy in the world, the most diverse democracy of any state in this country. I mean, the highest quality education, higher education in the United States, more Nobel laureates, more scientists, more engineers in California than any other state in the nation. It's a pretty remarkable place, but not as we are.
Okay, we found one guy who wants to be the governor.
I believe we can do better.
Like I said, we found one guy.
And furthermore,
well, of course, if it were the 9th largest economy in the world, if it were its own country, it would be in default like Greece.
That's right.
Very
good.
We're working through it. We're working through it.
Fareed, do you believe that the riots in Syria, civil war really, it should continue to be an internal matter for the country, or should others intervene? Oh yeah, we never got to Syria.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are intervening in the sense we've put Syria under very, very strong sanctions. We're trying to put more. We're clearly helping them with intelligence, with communications. The Turks are beginning to help them militarily. If we face a binary choice that we've got to get involved militarily, I would say no, because the only intervention that would make sense in Syria would be a pretty large-scale American-led intervention, because Syria it's not like Libya. It's not a country, Libya is 3 times the size of Syria, maybe 5 times the size. So the rebels can hide in lots of places. This is a small country. The army is tightly in control. The only way we could dislodge them would be a very, very significant military intervention. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think the odds of success are great. I think it would end up being as we have learned, I think, over the last 10 years, these things tend to be easy to get into and can get very complicated. But I think there are a lot of things we can do. Look, this regime is running out of cash. They're almost entirely isolated. At some point, the military perhaps will look at Assad and say, you know what? Maybe we can find you a nice villa in the south of France.
Hope so.
Yeah, well, the thing that Obama did in Libya, to me, looks better all the time. I know the Republicans hate it. They don't know why, but he did it, so they're going to...
But Libya really was...
They don't know what's going on, but they know he's wrong.
See, in Libya, you had a large country. The rebels were able to take a third of the country. They were able to take a city. You notice the rebels have not been able to take a single town in Syria. So it would be a much more difficult proposition militarily.
But I mean, in general, it seemed like that approach...
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, light footprint.
Limited, let the others lead, let the Europeans...
But it's precisely what the U.S. and NATO did in Libya is the reason why Russia is so antagonized. criticized because they supported that, and they said they didn't support that all-out attack. And Russia is key to solving the situation in Syria.
Right, and I read your column. You said, you know, we can't go without.
Right. It's either Iran or Russia. Those are the two countries that can talk to the Syrians, and we're not going to use the Iranians.
You know, I mean, somehow the Republican Party still thinks Russia is the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I've heard Mitt Romney makes...
Actually, say that, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
You know, what's weird about it is it's sort of, that's what Putin wants you to believe. They're actually a kind of second-tier power, not particularly strong, but they want to be this world superpower rival of the United States. And there's only one person in the world who seems to believe that. It's Mitt Romney.
I'm curious.
So no Russian believes. I mean, I was in Russia last week. No Russian believes that.
What countries do Republicans like anymore? It seems like, you know, Europe, well, that's synonymous with socialism. So's Canada. Russia's still the enemy. China, well, you know what we do with those motherfuckers. You know, other than like Singapore and Israel, I can't think of a country in the world that's now acceptable to the right wing, which is a very strange place that I don't remember ever America being in.
See, the problem with all these countries you're describing is they're full of foreigners.
I hate to tell them.
And they have universal health care.
Yeah. Hate to tell them, but so's America. It's just full of foreigners.
But that's what they don't like about it.
Yeah. All right. Do you think there will be legalization of pot before there are equal marriage rights in this country? No, I don't. I think, well, gay marriage is already ahead, you know, on that score.
Well, I wonder, I mean, I think state by state, you're going to see a lot of ballot initiative. I imagine if it went back in front of the California voters, it was rejected last time, I think it would pass. I think we're that close. I mean, you're seeing laws, and it's so many laws to de facto decriminalize by making it an infraction, not even a misdemeanor for quote-unquote personal consumption. You're seeing more and more laws like that. There's more hard-headed pragmatism on this coming all across the country.
And you know, the Mexican elections are taking place on Sunday. What's been fascinating to see about Latin American leaders is across the board, conservative to progressive, on the issue of the war on drugs. They say it's failed, it's killing our people, tens of thousands of them, and the U.S. has to change their policy now.
Let's not forget.
They have borne the brunt of it. I mean,
let's not forget.
We get high, they die. If I may requote Sarah Palin.
On marriage equality, there is a chance that the Supreme Court will decide this, and then next year there will be marriage equality for all Americans.
It's a possibility.
And now that Justice Roberts is a hippie.
Yeah, now we know, right.
Yeah.
We don't just have to count on Kennedy.
Yeah, that's right.
Counting on you, Roberts.
Kennedy. Oh, Kennedy. People say he's independent. He's senile. I really think he's cuckoo. He's gone over the edge.
No.
Okay, why is it that whenever the other side doesn't get what they want in the United States, they threaten to move to Canada? What an empty threat that is. Right, from liberals and conservatives. Have you ever met anyone who actually left the country? One thing about America, you know, we may not like a lot of things about it because we are spoiled, but it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's
I
in
also
my
love when they
blood.
say-
You know what? I'm not going anywhere ever.
And you heard it after this Supreme Court decision, where it's like, this is terrible, I'm moving to Canada. I'm like, for what? Universal health care? Like, honestly, you're so stupid.
Didn't Rush Limbaugh say if the Supreme Court upholds the Affordable Care Act, he's going to Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, a country without an army?
How about Somalia? Very limited government. But thank you, everybody. Have a
And
great
lots of
summer.
guns.
We'll see you in mid-August. Thank you.
Real Time with Bill Maher. Ask Bill and his guests your questions right after the show at HBO.com.